You've just hired a new head coach and a new general manager. Let them do their job. If you're going to go get in the draft room and tell them that you want to take a quarterback, if I was either of those two guys, I'm going to look for another job because you just undercut me.
Welcome in another edition of Breaking Down the Board here on PFN 365. Anita Marks with you, been with you for the last few weeks, and the star of our show, and that is 𝗬𝗢𝗏𝗧𝗨𝗕𝗘, former scout for the Giants for over 30 years. And what we're going to do with this show is we're going to talk about some of the players that are risers and fallers on the board since we first discussed those positions. We're going to go position by position. So let's start with the quarterbacks. We just talked about Mac Jones and Justin Fields. Trey Lance, again, I'm more and more I'm hearing that Atlanta's owner is really dead set on drafting that next quarterback to, again, play caddy to Matt Ryan this season. I think it would be a shame for them to pass up on Kyle Pitts, but again, that's my 2 cents.
All I'll say about that is you've just hired a new head coach and a new general manager. Let them do their job. If you're going to go get in the draft room and tell them that you want to take a quarterback, if I was either of those two guys, I'm going to look for another job because you just undercut me. And I'm not saying that they don't want to take a quarterback, but correct me if I'm wrong. There was talk a week or two ago about the head coach and the general manager weren't on the same page. You know, if that's true, and we don't know if that's true or not, but heck, you just hired two gentlemen that are football people. Let your football people do their job.
It's amazing to me, Steve, how we talk about organizational culture, right?
Sure.
Just in general, right? Like in society, and how dysfunctional the organizational culture is with at least half, if not more, of the teams in the NFL when it comes to ownership, general manager, and coaches.
And in the small circle, sure. And in the, I cut you off, I'm sorry, but in the small circle, which is the NFL community, I've heard nothing but really good things from guys about Arthur Blank. So I'm hoping that he doesn't do that. But if he does, all right, like I said, that's a shame because you hired two new people to run your organization. Let them do their job.
Okay, so with that being said, let's talk about two quarterbacks that have been getting a lot of buzz the last few weeks. One is Kellen Mond, and he has been moving up. But how far up? Are you looking at him being selected in the second round, or do you think he'll go to the third, and why? Again,
we talked about this young man. He's played more football than any other quarterback that we're talking about in this draft. In the best competition in college football in the SEC. He's got a winning record. He's big. He's strong. He's got a strong arm. He's cleaned up a lot of the mechanical issues that he's shown in the past as a younger player. His maturity and his leadership are really, really good. And he was the MVP at the Senior Bowl. Interviewed the young man. He's articulate. He's smart. He's been coached hard. He's more NFL ready than just about any guy at that position in this draft. More so than guys that are supposedly projected a lot higher than him. Why? I'm not sure. To me, don't be surprised if he goes in the second round because right away, he could be your starter's caddy. You have a guy that's a veteran quarterback, maybe that's going to have 2, 3, 4 more years left. Hey, Kellen Mond's your guy. And if he goes down, he'd be more ready to go in and play and win for you for 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks in a row than some guy that you're perceiving and hoping and projecting because you haven't seen it yet when they have minuscule football experience, as some of these guys that we're going to talk about have had. So I like him a lot. The more I've watched him, okay, he keeps growing on me the more I watch him. And that's something as a scout you have to be careful of because you can get married to a guy or you can ding a guy. But the more I watch him, there's more good things he does than bad things.
So the negative so the negative that I've heard on him is his accuracy. Okay, so that's the only negative I've heard. What are your thoughts on his accuracy and what are the things that he does well?
I saw him play in games live 4 times. to me, sometimes he's too amped up, right? So the footwork, the accuracy had been off. But the more he's played, the better he's honed in on that. And I think he knows what his shortcomings are. But the mechanical stuff you can fix. It's the mental stuff that I worry about. And him, I have no worries about his mental capabilities and his ability to process information. That part to me is very strong.
Let's talk about Davis Mills, because this is another quarterback that is moving up. Do you feel that he's possibly, potentially the biggest sleeper at the quarterback position in this draft?
I don't know about that. I mean, look, when people watched his pro day, which was aired on NFL Network, and it was in the pouring rain at Stanford, yeah, he's big. He's got a good arm. He's got a nice release. And the pro day looked really good in adverse conditions. So you're going to give him kudos for that. The pro days are totally scripted. They know exactly what they're doing every second of the day. When I watch him on tape, and it could be because this is really 1 year of production in a shortened season, always a split second late throwing the ball. Throws it to the right guy most of the time. Looks pretty good. He's got movement in the pocket. He's big and strong. But there's not a lot of football this guy's played. And maybe the poise of throwing it too soon or feeling the rush maybe a quarter of a second too soon is just because he hasn't played that much football. And that will come around. But listen, he's got upside. And he's what you're looking for as far as a big, smart guy with a strong arm that could develop into a really good quarterback in the NFL. How high he rises, I think you have to temper some of your enthusiasm.
Third, fourth round?
Sure, why not? I have no crystal ball, but teams will buy hungry. If you have an extra third-round pick because of a supplemental, who knows? To me, there's not enough body of work to take to me, a third-round pick has got to line up for you on Sunday. This guy's not going to line up for you on Sunday to start. He's not a starting quarterback in the NFL at this time in his career. I need a guy that's going to line up and win for me on Sunday.
Let's talk about offensive linemen. One guy that you really like is Jenkins, offensive tackle from Oklahoma. He's moving up the boards. Why?
Well, I started watching this guy. This guy is like some of the guys we played with on the Giants. This is a big, tough guy. Plays with the right attitude. He's strong. He's committed to the game. He's not a gazelle as far as an athlete, but he's a good athlete for the position. He's got the size, the strength, and the temperament to play at the next level. He could be a plug-and-play guy.
Vera Tucker from USC.
Man, the more I watch this guy, the more I really like him because I love him at guard. He could be a swing tackle for somebody, but at guard, to me, he's an NFL starter and a longtime starter. I love the hand use and the punch, the power. He plays with power. He knocks people off the ball. The name of the game is to win the line of scrimmage. This guy wins the line of scrimmage for me. He's a good player.
Slater is very interesting, right? Because
I know. I see every mock draft. I don't see it. I mean, I watched 6 games from 2019. I stated it before. He's a heck of an athlete, especially for the offensive line. He's got foot quickness, movement, lateral agility, recovery quickness. I don't see the power. If he can't be powerful at the Big Ten level, how are you going to be powerful in the NFL? I know for a lot of people, it's hard to say a guy almost 6'4", that's over 300 pounds is not big, but that's average size for offensive linemen in the National Football League. He's not long enough to play tackle for me, especially on the left side, and he's not powerful enough to be a guard. I could be missing everything with this guy. I hear he's a great interview. I know his pro day. I watched the pro day tape. Kid looked really good, but he's not powerful on tape. He's not big on tape. Where do I play him? To me, he's not a first-round pick. So those are the guys I'm used to for 33 years. To me, he doesn't fit that category.
And so Vera Tucker and Jenkins you would take before Slater?
Absolutely. I would.
Okay. Wide receiver, Bateman has been moving up.
I said it once before. I watched a bunch on this guy. He's a good player. I didn't see a lot of electricity. I didn't see a lot of highlight catches above the rim. He's a really good player. He's solid everywhere. But does he make my team dynamic as an outside guy? Because everybody perceives him with his size as an outside receiver. He's a good player. He does not fire me up.
A lot of mock drafts, he's going in the first round. What about wide receiver Moore from Purdue?
That little peanut is very exciting. I mean, he is electric. Anita, you and I can get in a phone booth with him, and he might make us miss. All right. I mean, his three cone, his ability to stick his foot in the ground and change direction, he's electric. But he's 5'7". Are you going to take a 5'7" receiver in the first, second, or third round? I can't. And watching him on tape, he's fun to watch. He's a really good player. There's a lot of these guys. You got to really want that guy. You have to have a part in your roster that you can plug him in. He fits that role. And there might be a team out there that's exactly that. I'm a stick in the mud when it comes to certain things. I can't take a 5'7" receiver in the first.
How tall is Cooper Kupp?
Oh, he's taller than that. He was over 6 foot, I believe.
Was
he was at the Super Bowl from Eastern Washington. Yeah.
I remember there was a lot of buzz about him when I was at the combine. And
the best hands in the draft that year by far.
Reports were he's got a photographic memory. And so that was another thing that scouts were really.
You can move him around in your offense, yeah. Because
he could memorize the playbook in one day.
We talked about the critical factors, the mental alertness. There it is.
All right, running backs. When we did our show, we were talking running backs. Etienne was our #1 running back. Now
he is mine. He's still mine.
But now a number of mock drafts have Najee Harris going in front of Etienne. What are your thoughts on that?
I really like Najee Harris. And if I was standing next to him and I had a chance to interview him, I'd tell him I'm proud of him because he came back another year and he really completed his overall game. This kid can pass protect. He improved his route running and his pass receiving ability. Running, you saw more dynamic runs, but the juice to take it to the house. The other kid, Etienne, anytime he touches the ball, he can take it 80. And you can't teach that. So for me, that hasn't changed. And Travis Etienne is a great receiver out of the backfield. So what's the problem there? Another guy that really improved his pass protection. He's 5'11". He's 215 pounds. He's got an ideal running back body. He has more juice. I'm going to take the guy with the juice who can take it to the house.
I love that you say that. He's got juice. All right. Defensive lineman. Phillips, defensive end from Miami. I know he's got some off-the-field issues. How many teams do you think would be willing to overlook that? This
young man came from UCLA. He transferred. He's had some injury issues. There was some other stuff that people had talked about that's been in print that I won't go there. The thing about him, though, is he's ready to play. He showed it on tape this year. He's further along than a lot of these defensive linemen. So in a year of COVID, and people are going to want a guy who can step on the field and play right now, they might overlook some of that other stuff. They might overlook the injury history if it passes their doctors. And let's take a guy who's ready to roll now as opposed to who might need a year, who might have to spend time on special teams, that we're drafting really high, but he's not ready to be in our rotation. This kid's ready to be in somebody's rotation right now.
And so you think because we're in this COVID year and the scouting departments are having a really difficult time really getting a true assessment of players,
sure,
there's going to be teams that are going to take a gamble on certain players more so than in previous years, is what you're saying.
They're going to be in their room and they're going to say, look at the guy on this tape here and look at the guy over there. The guy over here, he's ready to roll. The guy over here, we think he's ready to roll, but he's not ready to roll yet. And if you're a team that's on the cusp that you think you can win the ring, you're going to take a chance on a guy like this. So I don't have privy to the medical information and know how people think about that. But if the doctors pass a guy like this, I could see him going higher than maybe he's evaluated at because of that.
Now let's talk about Kwity Paye. Here's the question: what are Steve's thoughts on Paye? Now a lot of mock drafts have Paye going as the first defensive lineman drafted, but I know that you're really not high on him. Why is that?
Watching him on tape, so he played this year, and I went back to the 2019 stuff where he was more productive. He's 6'2". He's 260 pounds. He's not big to be a defensive end and play with his hand in the dirt. And as far as a linebacker goes, you know, he's up on his feet in a 2.3, maybe 4 snaps a game, but he's still going forward as a rush guy. So he's not a linebacker. He's never played linebacker. So he's an undersized defensive end. He does have long arms for his height. And his pro day stuff, I think people are very enamored with that. But the more tape I watch on him, there's some pressures. There's a lot of effort. There's not a lot of production. To me, is he a natural football player? Does he have really good football instincts? For me, he doesn't. Somebody's going to draft him because of the 36 reps and the long, the high vertical jump and the 4.54 40-yard dash. But watch the tape. There's not a lot of production on tape for a 4-year player. He's got 11.5 sacks. He's supposed to be a sack master. The big thing you want to do as a defensive lineman is cause turnovers. And turnovers come in a lot of ways. Sack isn't always a turnover. We get a sack on first down, so now it's 2nd and 20. The guy throws a 21-yard completion, it's 1st and 10. But if I force a fumble or I recover a fumble off of pressure, or I pressure a quarterback on 3rd down who has to throw the ball away, and now they have to punt and get the ball back for the offense, that's a turnover. I don't see a lot of turnover or cause turnovers from this guy. And to me, this guy going in the top 10, not based on the tape I watched. He played 4 games this year, and the stuff that I watched in 2019, more pressures than production.
Would you take Phillips over him?
Based on the tape, yes. Again, I don't have the doctor's stuff. I'm not privy to the background information. So to me, just watching the tape, I'm taking the man from Miami before I'm taking the man from Michigan.
Another defensive lineman that's falling is Russo.
1-year wonder, 2019, big sack production, 15 sacks. Some of them against inferior competition in the ACC, against a freshman left tackle at another institution. To me, his ceiling is very high. Athletic, long, big, going to fill out even more, going to get stronger. 1 year of production. You're going to get a young player, might be in your rotation. When we had JPP as a rookie with the Giants, he was a little in the rotation as a rookie, but he played more special teams than really taking snaps at the defensive line. The last quarter of the season, we worked him in more because that's how long it takes some of those guys to do that. So I'm going to take this guy high and not play him that much or play him on special teams. I can see why people might have a little trepidation about, you know, where to take him. But look, his length, his speed, his athletic ability, he'll go in the bottom of the 1st round for sure, because those guys are rare. There's not those many guys walking around.
All right, let's talk about linebackers. And I butcher this dude's name all the time, so I just see him going as JOK, linebacker from Notre Dame. You like this guy? You see this guy rising, right?
From Notre Dame, no, he's one of the guys that I said I think will fall.
Oh, you have him falling.
Yes. He played most of the season under 215 pounds. And when you watch him on tape, he's athletic, he runs, he plays with a hot motor, but he's a sub-package guy because when they run the ball right at him, they roll him out of there. He can't hold in. You want a guy, when the run comes to him, you want him to stack the point and shed and be able to play the run. He's got to give ground, run around blocks, or he gets blown out at the point of attack. He's a little guy, and he plays small at the college level. That's only going to get more prevalent at the NFL level. Now, is he a good player? Is he going to help you on special teams right away? Is he going to be in your sub-package defense? Absolutely. You going to take that guy in your 1st round?
I'm not.
I'm not either.
Let's talk about Parsons, because I think this is really the one of the biggest topics as well. You know, besides Mac Jones or Justin Fields at 3, you know, and we've talked about Parsons before. We broke down linebackers. You said the talent here is fantastic. In fact, if he was to stay in Penn State one more year, chances are he could be the #1 overall pick next year. But there's a lot of immaturity issues. Again, I spoke to another scout earlier today who was telling me that he sees him falling all the way down to like 20, below 20, because of all the off the field issues and the concerns there. I think talent wise, and especially what you just said, I can't see him falling that far. But I guess you don't know. What's the latest? What are you hearing about Parsons, and where do you think he goes, Steve?
I read something today or yesterday from LeVar Arrington, who finished his career with us. I really enjoyed him the 1 year he was with us in 2015. He said he would trust his children with him. You could say, is that a Penn State, brotherhood? I don't know. I mean, I'm not trusting anybody with my kids. I don't care where they went to school.
You wouldn't trust your kids with me?
Sure, I would, but you don't have any character issues. This guy is big. He's long. He's fast. He's athletic. He hits like a hammer. He's all around the football. He's what you're looking for. So some of this, look, we're not babes in the woods here. It could be smoke screen. I mean, this guy, to me, a year or two from now, I mean, why isn't this guy all pro? He's what you're looking for. I think he's a hell of a prospect.
I do want to say this because I think there's a very good chance that he's still going to be on the board when the Giants are drafting at 11. Okay, I think there's let's just say, without argument, a 50% chance that he's still going to be on the board. Keep in mind the Giants do have a defensive line coach or a defensive coach from Penn State who knows
Sean Spencer, the defensive line coach, came from Penn State,
who knows this young man extremely well. And so how valuable is that going to be to have that guy?
I think that's extremely valuable. Extremely valuable. Because I don't think Sean's going to tell the Giants that who he's working for now, that to take somebody that he has any trepidation about. Because, hey, it's going to come back on you then.
Right.
So why would you do that? And also, just being aware of the New York metropolitan area, that he's going to be over scrutinized, any of that stuff. So I'm sure they did their due diligence about all that before they would pull the trigger if in fact he's their guy.
All right. Last but not least, let's talk about cornerbacks. And one guy that's been falling quite hard and fast is Farley. Big reason obviously is because of his medical and the fact that he's had 2 surgeries on his back.
I watched him on tape. When you watch him on tape, there's a lot to really like. If you take the back surgery out of the issue, I still like Patrick Surtain better than him. To me, Patrick Surtain's a better football player. Technically, with his vision, his eyes, plays on the ball, and just how to play the position and what needs to be done at the NFL level, I'm taking Patrick Surtain before I'm taking Caleb Farley. Now you couple that with back surgery on a Tuesday before their Thursday pro day. I got a big problem with that. I have to give the young man slack that he opted out of 2020 because of COVID issues with his family's medical history and so on and so forth. Okay, that's fine. But you got a back issue and it surfaced in March. When are you going to be ready? And then things I'm hearing about some of the interview process with this young man, not always forthcoming, a little hard to deal with. And I'm getting that from guys that I know in the league for a long time. To me, that's a red flag. If you want to get drafted this year and you have a medical history, you better be squeaky clean every place else and bend over backwards. I don't care if you get interviewed every day of the week, twice on Sunday. Why would you give somebody in the NFL a hard time who's trying to find out if we want to take you on our team to make you a millionaire and give you something that very few people get?
You mentioned Surtain. I'm with you. We're in agreement. We both feel that Surtain is going to be the first defensive player taken, right? We're both in agreement there.
To me, right now, to be ready to play in the National Football League, he's the best defensive player in this draft.
And chances are he follows the Dallas Cowboys at 10, by the way. A lot of I know a lot of mock drafts have that. But J.C. Horn, Joe Horn's son, making a lot of buzz and moving up. What do you like about him? What do you not like about him? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I like him. He's long, tall, nasty, fast, plays with an edge. That's what you want a corner to be. Those guys got to be nasty guys.
And one more guy that's getting a lot of buzz is Newsome, who's moving up as well. Your thoughts?
Good player. Not as big as those other guys that we talked about. Fast, athletic, great kid, strong character guy. Just the next tier down. Bottom of the first round would be a good spot for somebody that needs a corner.
Do you see Newsome going before Farley? Would you take Newsome before Farley?
I'm not taking a guy off back surgery. Let's say the back surgery's not successful, and we won't know till he starts running around. I can't take a guy in the first round that I don't know anything about if he's going to be ready to roll. And the doctors could say he will be. Oh, it was a good surgery. They hope that they know that.
You know, I want to end on this, and then we'll get to the questions. Again, anybody have questions for Steve, by all means, please post them on our message board. We'll answer those before we do sign off tonight. And again, Steve spent many, many, many years with the Giants organization. And one of the, I don't want to call it rumors, but, you know, one of the things that you know, we were always told as media is that the Giants medical staff was one of the most conservative in all of the NFL. I guess A, is that true? And B, just out of curiosity, how many times did you like really love a player and really wanted a player, but the medical staff came back and said, can't sign off on it? How often did that happen to you guys?
I said in 32 years, more than you want to count. All right. But that's their area of expertise. So you have to bow to that.
Right. You know, but there's you know, there's a lot of teams out there whose ownership won't value, or not that value, but will overlook or won't listen to the advice from their medical staff. You know, I mean, every organization is different.